What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another YouTube video. In this video, we're going to be talking about NIO, what it's doing today, what I'm going to look out for, and how we have earnings come up, and we're just going to talk about what could happen. Now, before we get into this video, I'd like to remind you, like, comment, subscribe. Thank you so much for being here. Let's get right into this technical analysis. Now, today, if you haven't seen, the overall market is just pushing up. I mean, we got the NASDAQ up 300 points. We have the S&P 500 up almost 90 points. So overall, the majority of things are doing fair. They're doing good today. Now, NIO is also one of the ones that are pushing up today. You can see we're up almost 9%. We've been up a lot more than that today. So NIO is doing good. I mean, it still has a lot to recover, especially from its highs, but we're on the start. Now, this morning, I would like to note something though. We did get rejected here from the bottom of this buy zone. So our main focus today is getting in this area right here. Now, as I mentioned in the beginning of this video, we do have a binary event happening. We have earnings coming up. So that's really going to factor into what NIO is going to do. Now, since this earnings, technical analysis goes right out the window for that initial first reaction. Right, so when we have that initial first reaction, it's just going to be all hype. It's going to be just either a huge down candle or a huge up candle, or it may be a huge up candle, then it turns to a huge red candle. So there's a lot of things that could happen after hours. So be on the lookout for that. Now, I did mention in my previous NIO videos, I said I did like how NIO sold off going into earnings because your risk to reward ratio is a lot better now rather than NIO being all the way up to here last week and then earnings comes out and just tanks. So if you want to take an earnings play, what I would advise is not doing options. I would just advise doing shares only, because options, your premium is going to die down because that volatility is going to die from those options. So be careful with options today. I would very advise against holding options through this event. Now, I drew these lines out on my chart yesterday. It's called the expected move. So this is the expected move for NIO this week. This is the parameter. Now, this is actually a huge move. If you looked at my Sunday video, you saw that it was like over $7. Typically, NIO only has like a $4 or $5 move. That's why the implied volatility is up. That's why we have a much higher move, because of this binary event. Now, what I want to see NIO do today, at least, not during after hours, today, during market hours, before earnings is released, is get up in this green zone. Ideally, you want to get above this last high right here, because right now, we're still in a downtrend. This was the last high. This barely could be seen as the higher low. So, basically, we're very on thin ice right here. It could literally drop back down, and this could be the next lower high. So, if you want to have some conviction in this push, I want to see us get above this. Now, that's $52. So we may not see that today. We may have to see that tomorrow, just because that's another $3 move. So that'll be like, what, 14-15% move in one day. Not saying NIO couldn't do it, but it's a very unlikely for it to get above this high today. Now, in after hours, there's a big possibility it does. Because of that earnings event, they might report good and people like it, so they buy into it, right? So it may turn out good for NIO, and we may see that reaction. Now, keep in mind, though, I have mentioned this before, the top of this move right here, typically it acts as a resistance. Now, it's not a resistance by any means, but it acts as one. We'll see you typically get rejected here and then stay in between this move. But there is a chance that we get really crazy, and once we get above this thing, then there's a chance that we go straight to the second one. Last week with the market, if you saw us, we were down a lot. That's because we got underneath that first standard deviation and we made a quick dash to the second one, and then we actually got into the third one. That's what happened on the overall market. That's what happens when you get above the or below the first standard deviation. We hit those moves quick, and y'all saw that a lot last week. So if we get above this, there's a huge possibility that we actually make a dash to the second one, which would put us right at $62. So above $60 this week. Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen, not trying to get your hopes up, but y'all saw it with the market last week, so I'm just bringing that into play that it could happen. Likewise, if we get crazy, we could go down. We could go down, the second standard deviation. It plays both ways, but I do think NIO will report good earnings. They keep beating each quarter. It's just a matter of how investors are going to react to that, how big banks, institutions are going to react to that. So be on the lookout for that. Watch NIO closely. And my advice to you guys, just to sum this up, is be careful with earnings. If you're holding options, I would strongly advise against that, at least for, through tomorrow. If there's any way you can do something where you sell them now, buy them back tomorrow when those premiums are down, do that, please. Either way, though, I still believe NIO is an amazing company. I think they are going to smash these earnings. Thank you for being here, guys, and I will see you all in the next video.